So, hello everyone and welcome back to Kingdoms SMP, the third episode, and in the background you can see that quite a lot has changed since that last time lapse, because as you already know, it kinda just stopped recording because somebody, not quite sure who, forgot to press the record button. Anyway, some stuff has happened in the background before I ran out of quartz, and so the plan is this bit here, this kind of coral, this is obviously what the terrain will look like once it's all finished, is going to be like kind of waterfall. There'll be one on this side as well, and then another tower, possibly a couple more behind that when it's done. And there is something a little bit strange about this castle, which I realised that I'd done wrong. That bit there should have connected to there instead of there, but that didn't happen and I'm not tearing it down and redoing it. So I guess it's just now going to be a castle on an angle, and it's probably best viewed from somewhere over here. As I was saying, it's probably best viewed from somewhere over here, and just explaining that bit's just like a little bit more set forward. However, I think once it's all done, it should all look good. So since that was actually going to be all that was in this episode, was pretty much me building this white box, but all the recording went, I can move on to some slightly more exciting stuff, such as, press my button too many times, such as this shop here by Theseus. One sec, let me get over there. It's basically here you can say it says, we'll discuss the price later, leave a note and what you need. So I actually left this anvil here for them because you've got to put one there. And I have placed an order which is 1 chest full of coral and 1 chest full of glass or sand, because sand I can just smelt into glass. And so I think that's going to be a quite expensive order. And see, the problem here is my diamond stock is nil because I gave it all to Avoir when they needed diamonds. So I'm going to need to get some diamonds. However, I don't want to go mining for diamonds. I spent too long grinding this lovely shiny armor. As you can see, I have some pretty good armor now. It's not the best. Some of the stuff isn't as good as it could be, and the tools are they're good, but they're not as good as some of them could be. But they're good enough for now. And so I'd like to get just a couple more diamonds by shops or mini games. And the mini game which I want to make is inspired by Tango from Hermitcraft Season 6. I think he also made it on another season before that, or no, I'm not entirely sure. And so it's basically, in fact, I'll show you. Okay, so basically this game relies on the mechanic of TNT not doing any damage in water. So this is on a very small scale since I could only find 1 block of redstone. But it would basically, this would be what the floor is made of. The floor would be made of redstone, there'd be some little obstacles. It's kind of like a maze, but you'd be very, very slow. And as you go around, you would collect up items and items and things that can help. Swiftness potions, invisibility potions, and TNT. Because if you place down TNT in water, okay, so I found some more redstone about. But this is the basic concept. Obviously, this is not all water source blocks, and actually that's gonna mean it doesn't work. But basically, yeah. If you place down TNT in water, I don't know what's happening. But basically, the idea is it does no damage. However, if you are in the vicinity of it and I am out of TNT, if you are next to the TNT when it goes off, it will deal you damage. It will obviously deal you more damage because in the actual game, you wouldn't be wearing your lovely new shiny armor. Sorry, that was really bad. But that is the principle, that you would blow other people up, and it's basically capture the flag. And so I guess we should start building it. However, it's going to require a lot of redstone, which is unfortunately unfarmable, I believe. And also it's going to require a lot of sand, again unfarmable. But it's also gonna require a lot of gunpowder, which is farmable. And so what we're going to do, why did I do that? As I was saying, what we're going to do is we are going to start making a mob farm, since I need the drops anyway, and bone meal and stuff and that kind of thing. And yeah, we'll make the mob farm. I'm thinking I'm gonna put it inside here, although actually now that I think about it, that's not gonna work because there's loads of caves around. So I guess I'll just have to start my own sort of industrial district. However, before I do that, I've just realised that I forgot to show you something which I have been working hard on off camera, since it's not really a sort of thing for a video, but it is something which I've been doing. I've been working on connecting my base up to everybody else's, because although I'm next to spawn, surprisingly, the next nearest person is quite far away. And that is Hoy over in the Down Under Kingdom. And so this will be railway station kind of thing, is what is connecting up our two bases now, so we don't have to climb over the mountains to get to spawn and to get to the other people's bases, because Hoy's over in that direction a bit, and then everybody else is pretty much over in that direction a long way away. And I haven't connected up to them yet because I not only ran out of resources but ran out of willpower. But I have made this really nice looking currently bridge over there. And so I guess that's another thing I need to set up, is an iron farm, for which I actually need villagers, which I don't have any of yet, but which I can get. And basically this is just going to be an episode for farms. I know I bigged it up with the kind of like shops and stuff, but yeah, this is just going to be me prepping for those things by setting up farms. Okay, so as you can see, I have started, well, I've finished making the mob farm, and I've started collecting the loot. I'm not really sure of the best way to show you this. I'm right above an ocean, I'm very far out, but I've managed to make it. It's not the prettiest thing, since the block which I had the most of, as most people do, is dirt. And it's not the best thing. I also realised that my way down is directly under the mob farm. So that's not entirely good. I set it up to be automated just because it's easier, and it doesn't wear out the durability on my sword, which for some reason I've used lots and isn't taking any durability. It's got mending and unbreaking, which is the same as them. I mean, I know I fixed it up a little bit at the start of doing this, but so here you go. I've been AFK for quite a while, and I was just cleaning up the last of these mobs, and as you can see, I have made quite a bit of stuff, including the stuff in my inventory, and a tiny bit of spillover into that chest there. So this has been a pretty successful mob farm, and the next thing for me to do is to simply put it in my one-stop mob shop. So here is the finished shop with all the lettering, which I cut out of the time lapse because it took me a lot of different tries to get it. And to be honest, it was just a little bit boring to watch. But as you can see, it's all done, and I also put some signs on the roof, which actually, now I think about it, you can't see from where you would be looking because there's no render distance. But there are signs on the roof because it was looking a little bit like a witch's hat, but a very blocky one at that. So the next thing for me to do is not only say, look how cool Crimson Wood looks with my texture pack, but also is to go up here and start stocking with what I have. And I've forgotten all of my stock. It's in the chest over here. Okay, so there's very little I actually managed to collect from the mob farm at this time. And I forgot the chest. Oh, there's only 2 of them. So my next task is to stock up this room. Very simple room. There's no real interior going to go on here for the moment anyway. And just stock it full of this stuff, which is going to mean going back and forth between the mob farms and making more chests. So I was going to put it in a time lapse, but actually I'll just do it. So here is the finished shop, and it has all been nice and stacked up now. So you can see in here we have lots of rotten flesh, and so there's rotten flesh, 1 diamond per 5 stacks, because I'm not too bothered about rotten flesh. I'm happy to make any sales on it so they can have as much as they want, well, up to 5 stacks. Gunpowder I have a little bit less of because I dropped some in the ocean and lost it. But it's 1 diamond per stack because gunpowder is pretty useful, especially when we start getting elytras. Gunpowder is going to be in high demand. Bones also are quite useful for bone meal, and so I've put them at 1 diamond per 2 stacks. Arrows are useful if anyone's using bows, so they're a diamond per stack. And redstone is also really useful, so it's 1 diamond per stack, although I might raise it to 2, but for now I'm just going to leave it at 1 diamond per stack. And so that's the mob shop. I haven't done much. I added a little ceiling, but apart from that I haven't done much to the interior. Apart from I've also added the carpet. I might spruce it up at some point, but to be honest it's unlikely. So now you may be wondering why, when there's all this prime land here, have I decided to make the mob drop shop, oh I love saying that name, right here, right on the side of the mountain. What was my thinking behind this? Well, my thinking behind it was that when I open other shops throughout the series, I can put them also on this mountain. And I'll be able to make a kind of running path. Obviously I've got a ladder at the minute, but maybe one day I'll terraform a path and this kind of can be like a little street. So we have a drop shop, mob drop shop. I don't know, we could have a rocket shop, we could have anything. And it would just be added to this mountain here with a different block palette. And yeah,